Greetings and salutations, my friend. I am Jeremy Tank, and today I am sharing the 5 steps to decrease time waste and reach your customers fast. Because the faster you connect with your customers, the faster your business grows. With these steps, you will leverage the power of storytelling, research, and design to build, launch, or grow your business. We've got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to talk pretty fast. Feel free to rewatch this video or make any notes. And if you stay till the end, I am sharing 2 case studies that show this process in action. So first, I just want to share that before the pandemic, I was running a lot of live workshops and frameworks and sprints where we were using this process with business owners and teams of between 3 and 15 people to help them connect with their customers and get attention. And it's super fun to have everybody together. This is a great team building exercise, the first part of it, and we always have a lot of fun. So I'm going to start off today by sharing just a little story with you, and I think you'll understand where we're going with this as you get going. So I want to introduce you to Dave. And Dave owns a business, and Dave wants customers so Dave can stay in business, right? That sounds familiar to a lot of us. And Dave understands that business is an exchange of value. So he has to figure out what his customers value to grow his business. And if Dave is talking to other business owners, maybe Dave is saying, I value your money in exchange for my ideas or my products or my services because I have lots of ideas and lots of products and I need money to pay my bills. And on the business side, they hear, they value the ideas and they're willing to pay money because they can use the ideas to make more money. And that's the easy exchange. That's one person to one person talking about, how they help each other and creating an equal exchange of value. The trouble is when we try to grow a business, and as Dave's business grows, he has to keep proving his value to potential customers. And that ends up, looking like, how do I show you my ideas, my business, my products, my services are actually worthwhile? And a lot of people think, okay, well, this is marketing. Marketing just solves all that. Well, there's a challenge with that, and that is the testing, the failing, and the learning curve that happens as you try to share your value, share your worth, share what you're doing as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, even with the world. You have to show people, here's why this matters, here's why it's important. And that gap in the middle, boy, that's a tough one because that could be anywhere from like a couple of months to years. And in that time, you could test so many different things. You could write a book, you can start funnels, you can use social media ads, coaching, YouTube, signage, brochures, website, you name it. There's all sorts of stuff. But what it really comes down to in a lot of different ways is time waste. You are spending your time that you need to be making money trying to figure out how to communicate value. And when we look at this gap right here, we understand why 90% of businesses fail within 5 years. And why 80% of those businesses that failed cite that they couldn't connect with their customers. They couldn't connect with the people who needed the services, even though some of those services were really great. Because they couldn't figure out this gap. They didn't learn fast enough, they didn't test fast enough, and they just failed. And what it comes down to is your business is on the line, which means it's your future, your security, and really your life is on the line here. That's what that gap means, and the longer it goes on, the harder it is to overcome it. So today, I want to help business owners, leaders, CEOs, high ranking managers. See, if you are building a business, building a brand, if you've got a project, a marketing plan, or a campaign that you're trying to get out there, really what you're trying to share is that you have something. It's something that you do or you provide that creates value for someone else. It helps them accomplish something or helps them live a better life so that they want to pay for it, right? And in this process, you've got that something you do that creates value for someone else, and you've got an idea about what you want because it's your business, it's your life. Of course you have an idea, but maybe you don't know how or where to start. And you know that you need the results to be well received because it needs to communicate that value and get people interested. And so you want to include a bit of creative flair because that gets attention. And when you grab attention, that grows attraction for the business. Because without attention, there is no business. And you also want to be authentic and real and look good, right? These are all the things that we're trying to put together, whether it's a business, a brand. Like, this is the important stuff. And this entire project, asking these questions, figuring this stuff out, this is the method that $500 million businesses, that's $500 million. Like, these are huge corporations. And this is the same technique they use to build tribes and community of followers and getting people to buy products. So let's look at that time gap. Let's look at that time wasted. This is what we want to get rid of. And my process helps get rid of it. See, this 5-step process fills in the learning curve gap because we want to decrease the time waste and reach the customers fast. And with this process, we are going to show value. That's really what this is. This is communicating why you are worthwhile, how you work within your business, what you do. And we're going to do it in both verbal and nonverbal ways. And when we bring this all together, we're going to ask 5 basic questions. And you can write these down. You can take a screen cap right now, because these questions are what you need to answer to be able to reach your customers fast. Am I sharing a consistent story? Am I telling people the same thing over and over again? Or do I keep changing it based on who I'm talking to? Ooh, that's a toughie. Am I doing the right things? What are the right things? Where do I have to show up? Like, how do I actually approach the world? What's my competition doing? You need to know the field around you so that you can carve out your own little niche in this business machinery, right? What do my customers expect? People tend to not think through exactly what the customers expect because we're used to seeing the world from our own perspective. And from that same angle, customers see the world from their perspective. So we need to learn what they expect so we can meet and then exceed expectations. And then last, how do I grab attention? What am I doing that really helps my business stand out and appeal to the customers that I want to serve? How do I show them that I'm worthwhile in a way that they go, oh yeah, I absolutely want to pay that price, right? So let me introduce myself. My name is Jeremy Tank. I have a lifelong pursuit to help others through my talents, and I am multi-talented. I am an author, I am an artist, I am a videographer. I do lots of different things. I sing, I dance, I act. I do lots of things. I started teaching myself how to draw when I was about 8, maybe a little bit younger, but I was about 8. I went to 2 different fine art high schools and graduated valedictorian. I studied design in college and graduated with best portfolio. I immediately went to work in advertising as an art director, after which I went to the pharmaceutical world as one of the company's senior designers. I worked on packaging and ads and all sorts of different campaigns and videos. And then I went into enterprise software as a company's senior designer. I was the only senior designer, so I worked on everything within that company. And then in 2017, I went back to school and got a master's degree and graduated valedictorian again. I got a master's degree in design again, so I've got double degrees in design, which really helps me help you because it's the way that I think about things. So over 25 years, I've written and designed ads, flyers, tickets, posters, billboards, websites, funnels, videos, banners, electronics, trade show booths, commercials, business cards, and so many logos that I have lost count. And in that time, I learned photography, lighting, videography, sound, editing, and acting. I really like to understand everywhere and every way that a business appeals through marketing, through communication, so that I know the best ways to help my clients project and share their worth with the world. In 2021, I became certified as a rapid transformation therapy hypnotherapist and a magnetic mind coach because I wanted to figure out how the mind really understands our experiences of life. And through understanding how people perceive such things, I am able to inspire the right solutions at the right time to the right people and guide my clients, my customers to these solutions strategically and make sure that it's really the ideal outcome. And what I've learned from all of this work and all of this understanding how the mind works and how perception works is that branding is storytelling. And branding is this collection of feelings and words and pictures that we show others to influence them, to show them our worth, our value. And that's really all it is we are telling people stories and telling stories to ourselves to influence how we feel about things. So let's jump right back to this process, this five-part process. So how do we resolve it? Well, in each of these different parts, there is an answer. Am I sharing a consistent story? Well, if we know if you're sharing a consistent story, what do we have to do? We have to get clear on your ideal audience. We have to make sure that you are telling the right story to the right people at the right time. And when you ask, am I doing the right things? Well, in this process, we determine what are the actions that you need to take? What are the tasks that drive action forward so that you can get results and measure and improve what you're doing? When we start to look at what the competition is doing, then we can understand what you are doing versus what they are doing. And then we can actually design the value and differentiation into your products, services, ideas, and business itself. When we start to ask, what do customers expect, we can actually tailor the way that your business serves them and create a first call advantage, meaning that they don't think of anybody else when they think of your services or the category of your services. You are the first one that pops in their mind. That's really the strength of having a brand. And last, when you ask how do I grab attention, what we're going to do is unite experiences so that you stand out. And when we unite experiences, what we're talking about is the way things look, the way things sound, the personality of the business. When we combine that into one experience, then you stand out just like you just stand out from everybody else. So the first part is my power story. And this is, if I go back, am I sharing a consistent story? So, well, first we're going to focus on my power story, and we are going to look at, what do your ideal customers like? Who are they? What is the goal of the story that you're telling? And then we're going to create that story that connects. And my power story is my first my first program here that you can get, and it goes right into this process. The next step is called my action report, and again, this is something you get after we go through this entire process, and it's really establishing how money is made, deciding where you need to be, and then creating systems and automating so that you actually focus on the things that create results. Next is competitive research, and this is more of a done for you and done with you part of this process because I'm looking for certain things, my team are looking for certain things, and we're doing this research because we want to discover not just your direct competitors, but also your indirect competitors. And we are really looking at them to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are so that we can design your entire business, your brand, or project, whatever we're working on, so that it shares its complete range of value. And we can also design differentiation in. We can notice what a competitor is doing, and we can change things just enough to make you stand out as different because there's enough contrast between those two things. In step 4, we're looking at experience research. So we're actually looking to uncover customer perception insights. How do they see the world? How do they look at the world? How do they feel about the world? How do they feel about your business? Because when we understand that and we understand what else is happening with the industry in in your competition, we can start to analyze trends and opportunities that we can take advantage of. And with those opportunities, we can frame your story with this perception in mind so that we can tailor it directly for your audience. And the last step is visualize options. And this is really important because we're going to really perceive the big picture clarity. A lot of times we get bogged down in all those different things that are floating around Dave's head, right? All the different things he could try in that time gap where he's trying to learn. Well, when we look at things with big picture clarity, we gain a lot of insight about where to go and how to connect with people. And then we can unite the experiences that we're creating to really stand out. And what we're doing is really, with this big picture clarity, we are aligning business goals with the way that we are sharing our story with the world that shows value, that shows worth, that really pulls people in. And that is everything. Get clear about the ideal audience, discover what they like, clarify the goal of the story, create a story that connects, and then focus on tasks that drive action. Establish how money is made. So when you understand that, we understand how to connect people with that. We decide where you want to be. Where's the best place to be? It's not really where you want to be, but where's the best place for you to show up to find the customers that are best for you, showing your value, showing your worth. It's people that recognize that and want that from you. And then we can create systems within that structure and automate to free you to do the other things that are more important in your life. Next is observe and analyze the market. Really discover, all of the direct and indirect competition, analyze their strengths and weaknesses so that we can design differentiation and value, showing your worth in both, verbal and non-verbal cues. And then creating the first call advantage, which is really uncovering the perception of what your audience, how they see the world, and then analyzing the trends and opportunities so you can capitalize on that and frame your story, frame all of your marketing, frame the way that you share your worth with the world with this perception in mind, in a way that your ideal audience, it will key right into it. They will understand because it's the same way they see the world. And the last is aligning experiences to stand out. So, that big picture clarity with all of these experiences coming into it, if that's customer experience, along with sales, along with marketing, along with the support, like all of that stuff comes together to really create a whole identity within what we're creating here. And that has to align with business goals to make sure your business keeps growing. So, what is the process like? I mean, this is creative alignment for fortune and glory, right? What is the process like? Because when we leverage creative alignment, we are trying to get to customers fast. So, we're going to get clear on the ideal audience. I'm just going to walk you through the process as I'm going to show it to you in this next case studies. This is where we're at. So we're going to get clear on the ideal audience. We're going to focus on tasks that drive action. We're going to design value and differentiation. We're going to create your first call advantage, and then we're going to unite experiences and show you this big picture clarity. So the first case study out of the two is a case study for a book cover design for Amber Manzer for her first book, Ember in Shadows. And the process starts with my power story, which I'm showing pictures here of our live meetings that we've done a couple different times, but we can also do this over Zoom, over Google Meetings, or even over FaceTime if we need to. It's a process that's very flexible, but it's fun because what you see on each of these sticky notes is a single idea. The whole point is to create ideas, and then after we have all these ideas created, that we can start filtering them out and get to real solutions that move us forward. The second step is my action report. I'm just showing a few pages here out of the my action report because really it's getting clear about the audience and figuring out the different pieces and the actions. Right, this is the ideal audience. On the top is the avatar for Amber and her book, and After that are the two archetypes, the two ideas, the two ways that this person sees the world and sees the types of books that they want. Because we're trying to remember, we're trying to discover what this audience likes and what the goal of the story is. And the story in this case is the book cover. What's the goal of the book cover? To get people to pick it up and read it, to inspire them, to draw them right into it. And so we're trying to visually create a story that connects with this person. And this book, Amber's book, is actually a fantasy romance, and it's all about this warrior woman who is taking charge of the kingdom. And so we're really targeting the archetypes of the warrior and the lover, and in those ways we can utilize that framework, those perception insights, to draw people into reading the book. Also in the action report is the focus on tasks that drive action, and this comes into three different waves. This is the awareness, the revenue, and the efficiency. And really, it's deciding how money is made, deciding where you need to be, and figuring out where you can create systems and automate to really free yourself. The third step is that competitive research. So, this is where we're going to design value and differentiation. We do this through a few different things. This would be like mood boards or empathy boards. And what I'm showing you here are the mood boards we used for Amber's book. And you can actually see little yellow dots on some of these. Those were the research that she was like, yeah, I kind of like this, I kind of like this. So that allowed us to gain quick perspective on what's working, what's not working, so that we can keep evaluating and designing a look for her book that is different but still familiar and fun. And next was experience research, and you can see a little at the top here. I've got a couple more mood boards really narrowing down different research items that we found. She was really wanted three characters on a page, and so we were like, okay, let's go ahead and show this is what three characters on a page. It gets a little bit crowded, and then we really found, looking at some of these books, that the author names are really huge, and I thought this is a great idea. Let's show her some of the examples, because she wanted to downplay her own name at first, and I'm like, no, this is how you look authentic, this is how you look real. Let's go ahead and do this. And what you're seeing here down below with the arrow is a composition that we made in-house, just a mood board to say, look, looking at all the colors that we liked before, and I'll go ahead and go back, you can see some of the color palettes have little green circles around and little marks just to say, these colors work well, these are the ideas that work well, so that we pulled all of those together and created this guide for the illustrator who will actually do the cover, to say, look, here's the basic layout that we like. This is the black with the type in there. Here's how we are visualizing it, the layout content kind of fitting in here. Here's this three-person layout that we really like. We've got some visual inspirations down the center between the two panels here of the broken sword and this purple guy's butt, and some type examples to say, look, here's what we'd like to play with, these ideas. And then using the colors, we went ahead and created a color map saying, look, if we utilize something like this in these colors, in these hues, then it would come up with the feel, uh, inspiration. This is color theory, really. It would create the right amount of contrast and the right amount of intrigue based on these color combinations to pull someone into the cover. So when you're illustrating, try to use these colors to pull them in. And then this little effect of the smoky thing has to do with ember and shadows in the title in the book and what we're talking about. And down on the side, there's actually some brand attributes that we wanted to share with the artist to say, look, this is what we want to capture through all of this. And if I go back, you can actually see, like, here is an example of how the cover turned out, and you can see they used the colors, they used the basic layout, her type, even her name, even the type of the font that they used for the title is similar to all of the different things that we pulled across in the examples and showed in these mood boards. So they did a fantastic job capturing all of that. But this is still just like the user experience and kind of pulling together these ideas. And the last piece of this is visualize options, because even though she just came to us for a book cover, we wanted to show Amber, that there is so much more that you can do and be if you wanted to invest in the next leg of your business, and that is showing off the warrior lover. Like, how do you talk to the people who want to read the book? How do you share that? That's what this thing on the left is really showing. Here's how to talk to people about this book, how to get them intrigued in it, and on the right hand side, these are the different aspects of marketing that she could invest in, whether with us or with somebody else, just to say, look, here's the book cover. If you create a nice picture with the book cover and a nice sheet, you can go to different book shows or comic cons or different places that people might actually enjoy this book and share it with people. But also beyond that, there's a lot of marketing opportunities to put together a store with clothing and stickers and bookmarks and all sorts of different fantasy things. When you create a fantasy world, there's huge opportunity to create brand extensions and brand possibilities. You can see here in the purple, there's like a mug and a crystal and a canteen and a hood and all sorts of different packs and pouches. This is stuff that Lord of the Rings kind of taught us. Is look, there's lots of marketing opportunities, lots of branding opportunities, lots of brand extensions beyond just the one thing. And this is what we really love to do with the visualize options is, where can your brand take you if you expand it? How much bigger can your business get? We want to inspire, not just give you the one thing, give direction. We connected her with the illustrator for the cover, but also, like, what more can you be? That's the best part of this is why it's creative alignment, because it's big picture thinking. Where can you go with this? It's just so much fun. And then next, I'm going to run you through the Kraken's Cup, which is the identity, the brand identity that goes into making the logo that's actually here on the left hand side. So again, we start with my power story, and I'm showing another live one here. This is we did this over Zoom as well, so it's not something that can be as easily shown here. But I'm showing you it's the same process that we use with the sticky notes for live people gathering. This is a gathering of 5 or 6 different people working on a business. And then her action report, again, we looked at the customer avatars, who's this woman at the top, and then the archetypes, the Jungian archetypes, to figure out how do they want to present the world, how do they see the world, how can they showcase and really stand out from the world. And then in the action report is also, how are you going to increase awareness for the business? How are you going to increase revenue for the business? How will you increase the efficiency within the business by creating systems and automations? This is the sort of thing that we want people to think about. I want people to think about when they're talking to me, because it creates an impact on the end product, on the end of the business growing. And if we understand this, this is stuff that we can help you frame your business so that you are growing with or without everything that we look at in the big picture, right? And the competitive research, uh, these are just mood boards looking at different competitive research. The 3 at the top were local places nearest her that might be considered competition. The bottom 2 are a little bit further out. One is a Starbucks, because if you're opening the Kraken's Cup is a tea shop, so Starbucks could be a competitor, and the other one is a loose tea shop that is not really direct competition, but you know what, it could be. So we want to explore what they're doing, how they approach the world, what are they saying, so that we can really stand out in a different way. And we also looked at all of those competition. This is what they're showing on Facebook or on TripAdvisor or any of the other things like Yelp or LinkedIn. We're looking at them all across their media to see what are they sharing, what are they doing, how can we do stuff with the Kraken's Cup that intentionally stands out. Really, that's what design is looking what's there and figuring out how we can do something different that is still dynamic, still amazing, and sharing all of the worth, all of the value with the world in a very clear, concise, consistent story. So in the experience research, we did a bunch of mood boards that were looking at different ways and different ways that businesses really and other tea shops could bring their brands together and showcase their brands. And there's not a lot of difference here that you can see at first glance. But as you go deeper, like the stuff on the left mood board is really much more about creating an atmosphere of just kind of pulling different things together. The one in the middle is more of a traditional restaurant style or mall shop style that is very consistent with things within the store. And the third one on the far right is much more of like the Disney style, where everything has these really subtle marks and really subtle implications that reinforce the brand. And since the Kraken's Cup was just getting started, just rolling up, and just kind of pulling things together, we're leaning a little bit more to the left hand side. And that is absolutely fine. Every business is different. How they approach the stories they tell themselves and the stories they share with the world, how that shows up visually is different. And that is great. That's what makes things so exciting. So the next step in experience research is we looked at her avatar and we listened to the things that that ideal audience sees and looks forward to, and the experiences, and then we look at the world around them and say, okay, how are they approaching the world? What do they see? What do they observe? What is their life like? And these, I call these empathy boards, because we're trying to get into their head to figure out, what appeals to them, what sort of style would appeal to them. And the last step is the big picture ideas. And the big picture ideas, I call brandscapes. I did the same thing with the book for Amber Manzer, and I've giving two options here. The first one is a very modern take on the Kraken's Cup, and we're showing the ideal customer here on the on the right hand side, and it's very modern. It's very symbolic. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. There's not a whole lot of complexity really going on. It's really a nice structured way to present, and any business could look like that. It's just beautiful. And the bottom one is actually a little bit more retro. It goes into an Edwardian or Victorian sort of era look and feel, with lots of different patterns and bright colors, and browns and teals. It's a very much look that the Kraken's Cook actually went with. That was the personality that they wanted to grab onto, that sort of entertaining old style English kind of tea house. So that's what they went with. But showing the two options allows us to have a comparison to say, okay, the top one very modern, bottom one a little more retro and fun, because it allowed the Kraken's Cup to tell the stories that they want to tell about the experiences that they want to create, both through their social media and through bringing people into their restaurant, their store, their tea house, and actually enjoying things. So that is creative alignment for Fortune and Glory. It's really leveraging everything that's going on with research, storytelling, branding, and design, marketing, to reach customers fast. It is shortening that gap by presenting these 5 steps, which are: get clear on your ideal audience, focus on tasks that drive action, design your value and differentiation so that you really stand out, create a first call advantage so people identify you with the thing that you do, and unite experiences to stand out. So pull all of these things together and create one package with your brand. So if this process feels right to you, if you see what's going on here and you're like, I absolutely want this for my business, my project, my marketing, and you are ready to move forward, then click the button below or click the link below and schedule a free consultation. I would love to speak with you and listen to you and hear what's going on in your business and see if this is really the right next step for you to help you show your worth, show your value to your customers and to the world, and take the next step for growth, because you are worth it. Thanks so much.